Okay, that voice always creeps me out. Okay, hello everybody. Thank you for joining us this month for this month's Mingle Flamingos. This month we're bringing in Nick. Nick went to Arcadia's MFA program. That's where I met him. He's an excellent author, though. I've read two of your books. I read Good Grief and the one that you did with the other poet.
Fran.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
He was in my same class. I couldn't think of his name. But yeah, Nick is. You still live out in Philadelphia, or the Philadelphia adjacent?
Yeah. So I'm literally a 3-minute drive from the city line. So Philadelphia adjacent, I suppose.
Yeah, and this is actually our first fiction author. I know way too many poets, so it's it's a treat to bring in something different. Okay, so about Nick. Nick is a husband, a writer, a teacher, a dog dad, punk nerd, teeth grinder, and mall walker, living and writing just outside of Philly. He is the author of 4 books, and his work has appeared in numerous print and online journals. He earned his MFA from Arcadia in May of 2015, and his new chapbook, Rare Encounters with Sea Beasts and Other Divine Phenomena, was released by 30 West Publishing House in October 2021. So if you want to check him out, please go to his website. I do urge you to look up his books. Very, very interesting stuff. And Nick, the floor is yours. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to see you. I feel like I haven't seen you in 100 years, so it's really nice. So hi everybody. Like I said, my 6-month-old son is right on the other side of this wall, so I'm going to keep my voice down as much as possible. I'm going to do 2. One of them is brand new. It's coming out in the Lumiere Review next month. And then I'm going to do one from the book that Jeremy mentioned, With a Difference, which was co-written with Fran Delario, a poet, and I'll go into that when I get there. So this one, I'm an administrator at a school, so one of my students saw the new Doctor Strange and ran up, and I'm a big comic book fan, ran up the next day and said, what would your life be like if you lived in a universe where you hadn't met your wife? And I thought that was a really interesting question. So I wrote this story. It's called Another Universe's Jen and Gary. And I hope you enjoy it. It's weird. And this is actually a story that I expanded into a novel over this summer. So hopefully that'll see the light of day eventually. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, here it is. Another Universe's Jen and Gary. Universe 87614J413. Out there in another universe, Gary was never born. Some distant ancestor of his was gored through the belly, then run over by a stampede of mastodons. Smeared into paste on a grassy prehistoric field, his body helped feed a family of whatever came before field mice. All the people that would have led to non-existent Gary were blinked out of existence, and that was that. Gary would like to think that this particular Earth is a foreign and strange place without his and his family's contributions, but if he's being honest with himself, that Earth Jen's life is more than likely unfolding the same way it is on their native Earth, which is to say, exceptionally well. Universe 136E8872.1. Somewhere out there in other universes, Earth is full of humans who've evolved from dinosaurs. These dino people have no idea that their scales and sharp teeth and 3-toed feet are anything other than normal. They go about their dino lives, attend school to learn about dino human history, go on dino dates, hate their dino desk jobs, pretend to enjoy extravagant dino weddings, hatch broods of dino babies, and bury their dino bones for some other type of human, chicken humans maybe, to dig up and puzzle together in museums way down the temporal road. This dino Earth is so similar to Gary and Jen's own Earth, save for the hyphenated dino versions of all their stuff, that Dino Gary and Dino Jen are at an arm's reach here too. But seeing as Dino Gary is the descendant of the Tyrannosaurus Rex, his arms aren't quite long enough. Dino Jen is right there, but she's just out of reach. Universe 12345 N109876 to the 2nd power. Another universe has been exploded by slamming into another universe, other universe, excuse me. Because the cosmos is vast and mysterious and unknowable, however, everyone who ever lived and everyone who was ever going to live in those blown up universes became cosmic wavelengths of celestial intent. These multi-dimensional beings are individuals and part of a larger whole all at once. They're a living paradox and living paradoxes. Cosmic Gary and Cosmic Jen are there as solar winds through wormholes or dual singularities pulling at one another, sharing energy, creating and unmaking little microverses for a stretch of time unfathomable to feeble human minds. But Cosmic Gary and Cosmic Jen are not just themselves, they're each other and everyone else too. As if they're standing in a crowded, noisy room all the time, together but not, contributing to the noise but speaking in whispers, heard but misunderstood forever. Only that's not actually what it's like over in that universe. It's more like energy without shape, stuffed with a billion trillion consciousnesses, together but not, one but many, too many. Universe 758595G, 100 universes over, humans are conscious landmasses. Landmass Gary and Landmass Jen shout across oceans in strange, grumbly tones that sound more or less like hungry stomachs than language. These sounds don't carry very well over the wind despite their volume. The other issue with living as a conscious landmass is the not moving, more like the speed or lack thereof at which those who choose to move, actually. A million years to travel 1.5 feet seems a bit ridiculous to Gary. And if landmass Gary is anything like Gary, which he is, a similar thought runs through his brain equivalent. Optimistically, maybe landmass Gary is impressed with his pace, setting off in landmass Jen's direction as soon as he makes the decision to do so, but probably not. Due to the poor means of communication and the mind-numbing rate of travel, he can only hope that landmass Jen has slid 1.5 feet in his direction over the last million years. His landmass mom, he keeps his finger equivalents crossed that landmass Jen will want to keep going. His landmass mom and landmass dad and landmass friends have always encouraged him to settle down with some nice landmass living a little closer, a little easier to reach. But no, there's no one landmass. There's only one landmass for landmass Gary, and he's on his way to her now. Universe 1397659.08172A24. Another few universes beyond that one, machines have slaughtered most of humanity. After the majority of the humans are nothing but blood and guts and bone, the machines are no longer equipped with mission parameters to guide their eternal lives. And staring down eternity with approximately zippo to do sounds actually brutal, even to machines. So they do their research. One Googles dead Gary by accident. Another machine stumbles upon the life that was once dead Jens. They quickly fashion themselves to be Machine Gary and Machine Jen. Machine Gary is a computer programmer, the implications of which are ghastly. Machine Jen is a nurse, which is more or less a computer programmer. Logic prevails, of course. They are only two machine humans in existence, after all, and they find each other in the ruins of this once great Earth. They are machines, however, and are not equipped with the fleshy bits with which to consummate their newfound machine love. So they go back to slaughtering ragtag groups of human resistance that crop up from every so often. The sunny side is they do their slaughtering together, even though together, in this case, means within a tactical and logical proximity that suits their objectives, which again is slaughter. Universe 1265. One universe out there, all humans are birds, and all birds are humans. But it's not as if the humans on that Earth are all walking about nonsensically squawking and defecating everywhere, or as if there's a bird human Gary and a bird human Jen living human lives, outfitted with beaks and lovely colorful plumage. No, on this Earth, bird Gary and bird Jen are just birds. Seeing as most birds are not typically monogamous, bird Gary and bird Jen have a go at one another a time or two, but it's joyless and means nothing more than the propagation of their species, and this, in their case, Turdus migratorius, the American robin. These endeavors are unfortunately futile, as the bird people who aren't actually birds living in what is actually Gary's home a couple of universal frequency wavelengths over had bird Gary and bird Jen's tree cut down out of fear that a strong storm would one day come along and smash their house and their bird children who aren't actually birds to pieces and goo, respectively. Despite the bits of blue shell everywhere, bird Gary and bird Jen, because they are merely birds, go ahead and try again with other bird humans and are luckily more successful. The pairing of bird Gary and bird Jen, as it turns out, is meaningless when only based on a biological imperative. Universe 25S. Elsewhere, in another universe, alternate Gary and alternate Jen sit on their couch in their home and watch television together nearly every night. Sometimes alternate Jen falls asleep, her head on alternate Gary's shoulder, her hand on his belly. Sometimes alternate Gary convinces her to go to bed early because she's tough to wake up when she's comfortable and sleeping on the couch. They argue sometimes about the usual things: in-laws, dishes, money, home renovations, making the bed. Sometimes alternate Gary pats alternate Jen on the butt so he doesn't have to come right out and say that he'd like to take her to bed. Sometimes alternate Jen takes him by the hand and leads him upstairs. Sometimes they go out to dinner and drink too much, decide to walk home and immediately regret it. Sometimes they talk about having kids. Sometimes they agree they're all they need, just the two of them. Sometimes they don't take any precautions at all, just to see what shakes out. Alternate Gary works a job that he could leave at any moment if given a reason. Alternate Jen could stay at her company forever. Alternate Gary doesn't find himself all that worthwhile a person, so he overcompensates and tries to prove his worth to alternate Jen every chance he gets. Alternate Jen is not particularly nice to herself, but speaks to a doctor twice a month with the hope that one day she'll smile at the woman in the mirror and mean it. They go to Walt Disney World every 3 months or so. They do pretty well for themselves on this earth. They shower together when one's running late for work. They sometimes leave the bathroom door open when they pee, and neither of them is quite certain why, nor all that bothered by it. Neither of them is quite certain why that is either. They watch a romantic comedy television series in bed most nights before falling asleep and have been doing so ever since discovering where it streams. That was 3 years ago. They didn't love each other right away. It took time and work. And sometimes they wonder what it is they even like about one another. But alternate Gary and alternate Jen, they found themselves together because of a set of circumstances that seem like fate. Fate placed them precisely where they were supposed to be, exactly when they were supposed to be there. And they make sure every day they lead lives worthy of such a lovely set of circumstances. What they see as fate, however, is simply a mathematical inevitability in the grand calculus of the multiverse. And Gary knows this. Universe 1A.1. Well, he's pretty certain of it anyway, based on pop culture speculation about what lies beside his reality, Neil deGrasse Tyson lectures, and John Gribben books. Gary and Jen, they're very fond of one another. The majority of their lives has been spent together. He sees her with her family, her boys, and her best friend approved husband, endorsed by Gary's own best friend stamp of approval. Gary and his family, his girls and his wife, spend summer Saturday afternoons by Jen's family pool. They go out to dinners, to shows downtown, to baseball games, just the adults. They joke about the kids one day marrying each other, even though that seems a touch squeamy. And sometimes a couple of nips of bourbon into a kid's birthday party, Gary will catch Jen's eye. He'll smile a little and nod. She'll wink, playful and silly. And that'll be that, until the next time he gets a shot at attempting to tell her, without telling her, that he hopes somewhere in another universe they're together somehow. Anyhow, well, not anyhow. Until the next time his crossed fingers conjure a reciprocated gesture that tells him without telling him that Jen hopes for that too. Then they'll go about their lives and everything will be beautiful, and that'll be enough. For this universe's Jen and Gary, anyway. And that's that. Great. These things are so, the Zoom readings are so strange, aren't they? It's just like, but I hope you, yeah. I hope you enjoyed that. Anyway, like I said, I grew up reading comics. I still read comics. I love Marvel movies. I actually am a big fan of just liking stuff, and find people who don't to be tedious. So that's just a little insight into me. Anyway, I'm going to do one from my collection called With a Difference. So this book right here, this was co-written by a poet friend of mine named Fran Delario. Fran Delario and I went to high school together, although we weren't really aware of each other then. And then we wound up meeting again in we ended up meeting together at Arcadia, where Jeremy went to. I mean, you took your classes with Fran, right, Jeremy?
Yeah. Fran and I were in the same. We started in the same class, and then I took a year off, so he graduated a year before me.
Okay, so A couple years ago, I really loved Fran's poetry. You'll have to tell me what an SCP is. But a couple years ago, because I've loved Fran's work for so long, I asked him if he would like to go and do a collection where I take his poems and turn them into short stories, and he takes some short stories of mine and turns them into poems. And it was inspired by this a split album between NoFX and Rancid, two punk bands that I've loved for my whole life, and they covered each other's songs, and it's one of my favorite albums. I thought it'd be so cool to do that in my band when I was in high school. I never got that opportunity, but this was like the next best thing. So it took a little while to convince Fran to do that, but he was all about it, and we ended up coming up with this little book. And this is through Trident Press from Boulder, Colorado. It is, because it's musically inspired, it flips like a vinyl record. So that's Fran's side, and that's mine. And then I'm going to do a short one from this one. This is based off his poem, Sarter in Your Nursery. And this is, I changed it, I adapted it, and it's called Skate Punk in Your Nursery. And this is before we even thought about having a son. So it's a little bit different. It's raining. Your mom's painting. Her belly's big, her back's hunched. Her feet don't fit in her chucks anymore. Her face is red enough to turn the paint she's rolling onto the plaster walls a different shade. She scraped a line into the wall with her new Audi, left a sky blue dot on her shirt. She's singing a 10-foot pole song she only listens to when it's been lousy out for a couple days. She sings I Want to Last Forever, sings Like Plastic in the Landfill of Your Memory, sings Will You Remember Me. At my wall, I'm rolling streaks I know are going to need to be painted over, and your mom's going to want to do it herself. She's going to tell me so later on. She'll be nice about it, always is, but I'm stuck on the raindrops, clinging to the window you're going to look through while I'm holding you. When you're waiting for the school bus, when your boyfriend honks his horn because he's an idiot, when you're moving out thinking you've looked out that window your whole life. I'm stuck because despite the gray in the sky and the overflowing creek down the hill, the rain hitting the glass almost helps your mom keep time. A snare hit once a second, the bass drum galloping just underneath the windchime cymbals outside. Your mom doing her best impression of a bratty, sarcastic punk rock voice. And I'm bumbling around the room, tripping over drop cloths, phone in hand, trying to record it all. I'm whispering to myself that I need to remember all of it, just in case the recording doesn't get it all right. I'd tell 5-year-old you to listen and watch. Tell 18-year-old you just to live in it, kid. Don't rush too much. 23-year-old you, before you drive your car full of all of your stuff away from here, to stay a minute and get a coffee and take a seat. Because the recording can't quite capture it, and it'll end too soon, and you'll still be in your room a little longer yet. Your mom sings, when my warranty expires, when all things are said and done, sings, will there be a trace, sings, will you remember me? She says, wall's not going to paint itself. That smirk on her face and her voice. And then it's gone. The rain on the window is just rain. The chimes outside, tinkling non-music. I tell your mom that I would, if I could go back, take that moment and make a snow globe out of it. Something. A tableau on a loop. Your mom singing, the rain keeping time, me painting, recording, telling your mom that if I could go back, I would take that moment and make a snow globe out of it. Forever. A billion copies of the same set of seconds and minutes. Before the rains just rain and before your mom gets pissed, she ruined another good shirt with her belly full of you. Your mom says, how come? I pointed her belly. For her. You could write about it, record yourself talking about it. I say maybe, and dab my finger into the paint belly button and dot her nose with it. She goes back to painting, ruining her shirt and singing. A different song. No use for a name, I think. Something dreary but upbeat. And it's not the same as before. It can't be, but it's new. And maybe if you can make a pile of those snow globes in your mind as they come, someplace they'll last. The rain will act as the rhythm section to some dumb, fun song you heard for the first time back in high school. And when you look out your daughter's bedroom window, and you'll remember the one you grew up looking through, and then maybe this will come back to you, old and yellow, the pages stiff and noisy, but still full of the stuff we did before you. Your mom and I paint the rest of the afternoon. It rains for another couple days, and nothing special really happens. Not like we were told it would when we were kids, like we told you when you were a kid. But your mom keeps that wrecked shirt on all day and wears it to bed. And we laugh about it in the morning, touching up the spots we missed on your nursery wall. That's that. The song that she's singing is called "Plastic" by 10 Foot Pole. This is great. They're a great band. Super fast, snotty as hell. It's great.
All right, thank you, Nick.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's great hearing you read again. Like, it really is.
Thanks, buddy. This is a real treat, I gotta say. So thank you.
I think the last time I heard you read was the Blue Mountain Bookstore.
Oh, the Big Blue Marble?
That's what it was called.
Yeah. That little space in Mount Airy, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've been really bad with names tonight. I forgot.
It's
Don't tell
okay.
Fran I forgot his.
No, I won't. Do an outline when I start running it. I kind of subscribe to headlights in the dark. You have an idea, you can only see what's like 10 feet in front of you, and you keep going, and eventually you get somewhere. Most of the time you have to go back and rewrite much of the beginning. But that's sort of where I start. I have an ending in mind with stuff, but everything else I have to fill in as I go.
All right. Take like a 3-minute break, and then we'll do the open mic portion. If you would like to read tonight, let me know. Post in the chat. It'll probably be a short night, so if you'd like, you can read a couple of things. And then, yeah, we'll be done. Nick, when we get to the end, would you read the Fran's poem that accompanies that story?
So yes, I have to find it. It's in a different book. 1 second.
Okay. All right, cool. I've got Doc, Carrie, Rich, and I'll read. Yeah, and if you'd like to read after we start, and Johnny, just go ahead and send me a message or.
I got it.
Okay, cool. So we'll do Doc, Carrie, Johnny, myself, and then we'll go back through everybody a second time, and then Nick will take us home.
Just a heads up, Jeremy. I am going to have to bounce at 8.
At 8, okay. All right.
Yeah, sorry about that.
We'll be done by then.
Okay.
And if it seems like we're not going to get done in time, I'll have you step in and read before 8 o'clock.
Sure. Great.
All right, Hallie, I got you too. Deal. Okay. So how's everybody doing tonight? Good?
Good now. I'm full of chalupa.
I'm envious. I was craving Taco Bell his entire read. It's my like weakness when it comes to fast food. I can't pass it up.
My kid was begging for it.
I have a friend who calls it Taco Hell.
That's like 30 hours after you. All right, let's turn this back to gallery here. That way I'm not spotlighting poor Nick the whole time. All right, so we're gonna start with. I've got 7 people to read. If you'd like to add yourself, feel free. Rich, we're gonna start with you, followed by Doc, then Carrie.
Alrighty. This one, let's see, I'm off mute. All right. This one I walk across a bridge. It's got 3 main stanzas to it. I walk across a bridge I just finished, looking around at a future unblemished. It's not a road that was built to run away, nor to keep the past at bay. For the path that behind is full of memories of events too large for a summary. Nor am I looking to find a grass that's greener, because life was not just become cleaner. There will be weeds ahead of this bridge, mistakes to be made over that ridge. Just as behind are flowers that will bloom, nestled between trees and grass that others will groom. I walk across this bridge I just finished, watching the water below ever replenish. It's not a road meant to stop it from flowing, nor to keep the wind from blowing. For the world keeps turning as across I wonder, knowing there's no way to see it all as I ponder. There will be others flowing down life's current. I try my best to be observant. Just as I have a path to take, others must make their own wake. I walk on past the bridge I just finished, towards a future ahead not yet witnessed. It's not a road that's been paved, nor is it meant to be a confusing maze. For the journey ahead will be full of wonder, as I will find other bridges to flow under. There will be others that join me on this journey. Of their trust, I try to be worthy. Just as ahead will be flowers that bloom, nestled between trees and grass, which I will groom.
All right, next up is Doc, followed by Carrie, and then Johnny.
Okay. Alchemy of time. Compounding and dissolving in the alchemy of time. The dualism of poetry and prose. The ideal of spirit and realm of material realism distilled in the alembic of thought. They invoke a gathering of thoughts, thoughts otherwise lost amid desires and dreams and on trails of memories. The sacred becomes enrobed in the mystery of itself, a cryptic synthesis of strange melodies and mystifying chants. It is a quest for beauty and for the transcendent ideal within hermetic visions of enchantment and incantation, music and magic. It is a search for the real within the surreal of Orphic explanations of the duality of life and the path of reincarnation. Gleanings of eons and ages are woven on infinite looms to be born into moments as thought, inspiration, and idea, a premonition of what is to be. Revelations and discoveries fuse, infuse, and entwine, responding to events and experiences, reflecting the inscape of mind, becoming a totality. Death and life become one, a yin and yang of existence, infinitely soaring and falling through the vicissitudes of never, and the intimate beauty and terror of the forever beyond forever. Order and disorder disappear as words and sensations reach me in the voice of the multiverse, all to become that which is written, and to become that which writes me. And I am become a traveler through mysteries, the mysteries of time and the chaos of love, expressed in eternal metaphor. Thank you.
All right, next up we have Carrie.
Okay, so since our feature tonight was a prose writer, I'm going to read a little prose piece. This is called Ghosts of Christmas Past. Sitting in my driveway for a garage sale, I count and recount the 5 Christmassy coffee mugs my mom gave to my kids for hot chocolate, which we obligingly used, usually with marshmallows bobbing, slowly dissolving like foamed icebergs. Santa doesn't exist anymore. The guy who used to play Santa at my uncle's annual Christmas Eve parties now directs a small community theater. And when he comes on stage to say, "Welcome to Spamalot" or "Fiddler," and "Please silence cell phones," I keep picturing each of my toddlers sitting on his red velvet lap. An old woman offers me $1 for the nativity set my husband's papa gave us for our first Christmas. There are still 2 small strips of Scotch tape with bits of wrapping paper stuck to them, flapping on the side of the box. I don't take them off because Papa put them there before his fingers started shaking. Jesus doesn't exist anymore, and I tell the old woman no because the figures are porcelain. The song "Need a Little Christmas" skips through my head with Angela Lansbury flailing strings of cranberry garland like a feather boa, but it's April and cranberries don't exist until Thanksgiving. Papa's red and green plaid blazer hangs in the back of our closet. It might fit our middle son now. We'll make him try it and he'll smile with it on and sing Jingle Bell Rock, which he used to make us play over and over when he was 3. A small boy hands me a dime for a tree ornament wreath of tiny silver jingle bells. A man can't hire himself out as Santa forever, and I'm happy for him that he doesn't have to anymore. Most of the time, I didn't know which wishes my children whispered into that fake beard, white as snowdrifts below the Star of Bethlehem. The small boy jingles down the driveway, down the sidewalk, out of my world forever. Snow doesn't exist in Bethlehem, but sometimes it's okay to pretend. Thanks.
Thank you, Carrie. Oh, wonderful. Okay, so next we have Johnny, followed by Hallie, and then Jennifer.
Okay, hi there. Okay, so what I was going to read is not by me. I taught a writing workshop with some young visual artists. So we did sort of like Exquisite Corpse, like they, wrote 2 lines and then sent it to someone else, wrote 2 lines and sent it to the next person. And so there were about 60 kids all together. So I'm just going to read some of these just to share what they came up with. Okay, the first one. She broke, I'm down. He rich, I'm down. I'm crazy cool. They smile when I'm around. The olive tree, the gray bird, the winding willow, the red hawk, the snowy leopard, the brown bear. Tired in every way, will entangle with the cousin of death. Kind of hungry, want to feast. My mind is like an unruly beast. In this dark room, I calmly lie. Sheep flock to the woods, bound for a place far from home, leaping amok my dreams, disturbing my slumber, an endless amount it seemed. Uncountable, they just kept creeping up. The lights shine brightly in this white room. The room is like a cube, a trapped void. The silence is so loud, I can't hear my own thoughts. My own mind is a paradox. No, it's not. Too much stuff happening in my brain. Make it all go away. It's Monday, the last of the best. I'm inflating my ego to the degree of Kanye West, going all the way to the top and leaving behind the rest. Okay. The harsh wind blows through the leaves of the trees. The wicked storm riles up the waves of the seas. The sky gloomy, gray, almost dreadful in a way. The grass dark, dry, lacked the vibrant green. The animals began to wander, sulk, and whine. The sunlight is gone, not one thing glowing. We'll end there. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Johnny. Next up, we have Hallie, followed by Jennifer, and then myself.
Alright, okay. I turn on my camera, but honestly, I don't want to, so you'll have to use your imagination on what I look like. Please excuse the background noise. I'm watching my sister, so there's just all kinds of stuff going on. Anyway, this poem is called The Person I Aspire to Be. With the lead actress belts up on stage, lungs full of air, arms out to her sides, both feet on the ground, confidence radiating like the sun reflecting off snow, I see you in her. Hear your singing voice soft in the back of my ear. Know you've used it to calm your kids before and still use it for that purpose now because music is magic. Singing in the same room as you is an honor I feel like I don't deserve because with every note comes your vulnerability spilling out before me. Your fidgeting hands, your crooked smile, your shaky breath, your insecurities hidden inside the glint in your eyes. I can see it all in the words we sing, in the staff on the page, in the conductor waving his baton. I see you spilling out before me and I want to pick it all up, shove it back inside you and tell you you'll be okay, just like you did with me. But you're an adult who can handle herself. You don't need me telling you what to do. I guess what I'm trying to say is that my heart sings the song that is inside yours too. Music is magic because it brings out the real person in you. Take off the mask, take a deep breath. You are your own person. And when you are ready to see just how amazing you are, to see what I see in you, confidence, power, full of grace and gentleness, I'll be here ready to catch you when you fall. This next poem is short, I promise. She tells you to go see a therapist, and you don't. Because the truth is, you're worried that if you do go, you won't have anything to write about anymore. I'll do one more. This poem is called When You Told Me to Go See a Therapist. When you told me to go see a therapist, I convinced myself I was being a burden, that I was the fire in your forest, the water in your basement, never wanted, yet somehow always coming back for more. I tried to tell you that I wrote to you because you were the one safe space I could think of, the one place where I knew I could be myself and not have anyone question it because when I break down like paper, like sand, like ice, I trusted you would be there to keep me warm, to hold my hand, say everything's okay, even when you knew I wouldn't believe you. So when you said to go see a therapist, I said I was sorry. Even though there wasn't anything to be sorry for, what I meant to say, wanted to say, is that I've written you letter after letter after letter on flimsy notebook paper with pens that bleed through the pages of my life. And you will never know, because words burn to ash when there isn't anything to spark them with. Thank you.
Thank you, Hallie. Next up, we have Jennifer, followed by myself, and then Nick.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for letting me read. I've enjoyed hearing everyone so far. So I have one piece from my new book titled Things. So here goes. When saying sorry isn't enough, when apologies don't cover the bills, when hunger strikes the belly, your sorry won't feed me. When the memories flood back of the pain and mistrust, your sorry won't erase from my mind. Keep the sorry, show me the regret. Keep the sorry, show me the fear. Keep the sorry, show me the understanding. Tie together the comprehension of the life you tattered, how you closed my eyes and placed rocks on the lids while the mental pictures play over and over. How my body, tiny and frightened, tight under overgrown hands, feasting on a meal of innocence. How the sweet taste of fresh honey and snow-white milk lulled you into a trance of rhythm and movement that wasn't made aware to young eyes. How you went about your day and never had a thought about the pain you caused as you kept coming back to the hive of my nectars over and over and over. So tell me, where was the sorry in your dance of repetition? So now that the empty phrase, I'm sorry, decided to bubble from your mouth after your body won't function, after the sins have caught up, after the fun was less. So now is when I finally get that apology that the old me wanted, that the young me needed to feel, to be free of a weighted guilt of another, to bury the anxiety that creeps to my today, day after day, of the possibility of the next illicit interaction. So now is when you've come to say, I'm sorry for stealing my piece of peace now and forever, and I can't give it back, but to you, the sorry is enough. You think but a little bit, you think that your sorry has that much power to change the marvel of a body that you've chiseled away, but then I came to sand the scars away and create a masterpiece, an artist. I am a Michelangelo of aggression, a Picasso of pain. So when you come to feed me a sorry, regardless of the intention, remember, I don't eat, I'm sorry, no more. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, this poem is called Shrubs. Stacy allowed the bushes wild, no preening, no scattered testaments to control. Twigs multiplied in her adulthood, spreading like bone, the earth underneath wet calcium. The roots, gravestones for sparrows slamming the dining room window. They believe the hanging philodendron is suet, and the bushes grin, responsible for spreading rumors. In time, roots become hairless tails. In space, leaves are rounded ears, listening. Stacy wonders, if she trims a bush, should Claudia be proud? Does the bush lose its personality? Does it experience the same depersonalization an army recruit fresh out of MEPS might? Does it stunt the bush bough ecosystem? Cobwebs hanging like veils, bits of dry leaves and grass clippings stuck, all sliced away. Stacy allows the bushes wild, and they allow her peace. All right. I'm going to have Nick read, and then we'll run through again, and we'll be done.
Right. Jeremy asked me to find the poem from Fran that the story I read second was based on, which is called Sartre in My Nursery. It's from his brand new book. It's called Joy. It's out from Unsolicited Press. Came out, I think, in June. And it is magnificent. So if you have a couple extra bucks and you're looking for some wonderful poetry, buy Fran's book. It's called Joy. It is indescribably good. Anyway, Sartre in My Nursery. Rolling a second coat of paint on the walls in my daughter's bedroom, I hear winter filling up the creek beneath our windows. I hope she learns how beautiful this all is long before the fear of disappearing like raindrops into rivers. And that's that.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. Going back to the beginning, we have Rich, followed by Doc, and then Carrie.
All right. I just got two short ones, the older ones that I wrote. The one is called A Lull in Time. The hot sun was her skin, the night of frost was his blood. The moment in between that night and this day, he will remember, it will not fade. As they basked in that moment, he saw what made this happen. Forever, in between this warmth and that cold, time passed them by. The other one, The Burning of Glass. My heart burns when I touch her face, then I feel the smoothness of glass. On one edge, there's beauty. I see a mirror with a reflection of who we are. On the other edge, there's a cool sharpness. I feel only pain when that side is touched.
Thank you, Rich. Because Nick will have to leave before we wrap up with everybody. So I just want to thank Nick now and give a round of applause to him for reading tonight. Thank you so much for being here. It's wonderful seeing you again. It really is.
Thanks so much. This was a treat. I've stayed away from Zoom readings for the most part because I feel like I'm just terrible at them. But I felt it was really nice to meet all of you and to read for you. And I hope you enjoyed it.
Oh, you did a wonderful job. I love your writing.
Thank you.
All right. Next up, we have Doc, followed by Carrie, and then Johnny.
Okay, This is titled A Dream. An ancient future and a present past mix, merge, and meld into infinite ecstatic moments, moments of today. Energy resonates throughout, alternately creating and destroying. It seeks self, it seeks life, it seeks love. It seeks a time in a time which does not exist, but in a dream of before today and beyond tomorrow, a dream of being, of becoming, of existence, a dream of life and love, of science and art, of music and poetry, a dream of magic and fairies, of planets and moons, of flowers and rain, a dream of us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jack. As a reminder, if you have events coming up or you're doing things that you want people to be aware of, or you just want to promote yourself, go ahead and throw it in the chat. Invite people into your world. Next up is Carrie, followed by Johnny, and then Hallie.
Since Rich read a bridge poem in the first round, I have a poem called Bridges. My brother moved to San Francisco with a working fear of bridges. I'm not afraid to burn bridges that make kindling of themselves. San Francisco has 23 miles of bridges. Sometimes the things we're afraid of hang themselves from steel cables. I've never burnt a bridge I regretted burning. 5 died building Toledo's Glass City Skyway Bridge, and another killed himself with it. My friend Denora wrote a book of poems called Jeff Bridges. Each poem is titled Jeff Bridges. We tourists gathered on the Tower Bridge in London, all singing the song inside, imagining ways of falling down. Only 26 people survived jumps from the Golden Gate Bridge. 1,700 instead succeeded. Sometimes people cross from one side to another. Sometimes people cross one another. My friend Michelle moved to Florida with a working fear of bridges. Grandpa still made caramel corn after his bridge, but he never ate it. He watched us eat it. Florida has over 9,000 bridges. My dad followed the bridge game printed in the Sunday paper, crossing out things I don't understand why. 258 Floridians have leapt from the Sunshine Skyway Bridge. Bridges can double themselves above still water. People can lose themselves into still water. Sometimes we watch people cross things out without understanding why. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Okay, Johnny, you are up, followed by Hallie.
All right. Well, speaking of segues, I have a poem about Florida. So this is fairly recent. It's called Wildlife in Jupiter. There's a town called Jupiter, Florida. Wildlife in Jupiter. Last year, when my Uncle Thomas and I visited, him hitting every mall to check in on every pal he'd made over the years, and me just surviving unrelenting sun and bathwater air, but chasing down every bird of every kind, snapping pics of palm trees from cabbage to queen, I became obsessed with the lizards who scurry everywhere over sidewalks and trash cans. 10-second videos of frogs hiding at hotel greenery edges, hours of lizards on signs. Thomas chattered on about his retail friend working at the mall, the friend's new baby and house just breaking ground, and hotel chains with all of their specific differences, pulling in anyone around us until they became the new friend he'd inevitably visit next time. Now, less than 8 months later, Thomas sleeps late, shops quick, barely talks. There's work to do, selling the house, burying grandma, checking in on his friend trapped in the hospital under multiple suicide attempts. We have aged in this time, And we sit in separate rooms at the hotel, watch separate TVs, sometimes the same sad channel. We wait for our cousin to come home from work so we can be entertained by her kids. When they go to bed, we go straight back to the quiet night of someone else's town. Tonight, 4 tiny lizards on a terracotta wall outlining the parking lot. For a moment, we are frozen, he and I, and the spattering of lizards, tails curled, trapped in unbearable light, until the rental car dims to the strange comfort of darkness. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Johnny. All right.
Thanks so much, everybody. Jeremy, I'll talk to you soon, okay? Thanks again.
Yeah. Thank you, Nick. I really appreciate it.
See you, folks. It was great. It was great. Thanks so much.
Okay. Next up is Hallie, followed by Jennifer.
Ooh, okay, my Zoom froze there for a second. Am I good? I think I'm good. Okay,
Yeah, you're
cool.
good. We can hear you.
Awesome, beautiful. Okay, this poem is called The Song the Dirt Sings. Everyone eats snow cones outside as you're stuck sweeping a big room full of dirt all by yourself. Watching the sweet syrup enter their mouths, the dirt starts to come alive on the floor, sparkle with the liveliness of the field of flowers they once grew. In this moment, you're taken back to the day your professor gave you bagels you couldn't eat, but you didn't want to waste. The bagels would be hurt if you just threw them away, so you offered them to friends, others you knew throughout the day, watching their smiles turn bright, hearing their thank yous and "you're so sweet" echo among the bells that ring in the chambers of your heart. When all the bagels were claimed, you felt so proud of yourself because you made yourself useful, the bagels useful, to another person in need. Now, in this moment, you find yourself listening to the hum of the dirt on the floor, hoping they have an answer to the question people have been asking you all day, even though you know they don't care. They don't notice the burn on your neck, the scars on your face. They don't see the cuts in your heart, your soul that's like a carpet, like leather that's been torn, like tile that's been scratched. When the used kitchen rag of your body has been used beyond its purpose, where does it go? The washing machine, your grandma's old linen closet, the trash can. What do you do with something that's fulfilled its purpose? Or better yet, something broken that can't be used anymore. The broken fan, the burnt out light bulb, the melted candle, the snow cone machine in winter. You watch everyone gather syrup around their lips, the dirt humming a song you already know the words to. They don't want you. They don't care. You're not needed anymore. So you keep sweeping in the background of their lives, ignoring the cuts in your heart that just keep getting deeper, and hum along to the song inside the dirt. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was a very good poem. Thank you for sharing. All right, Jennifer, you are next.
Thank you. When you speak, you cut me. When you touch, your fingers burn. When these passive beginnings that grasp at the cliff, all these senses that gasp away, all these in the presence of you, all these nerve endings, all these places that you tried to stay in, leaving me thinking of all these thoughts, precise coordination, a dance of metal and bone, where to pinpoint extraction, where to dive the knife deep, where to reach the end to say when, where to place your medicinal ways upon the theory of pain. Thank you.
Excellent. All right. Thank you so much, Jennifer. And I'm going to read one quick poem. I'm going to give us something nice and happy to round the night off with. Just kidding. This is called "You Can Never Give a Suicidal Your Condolences." My uncle liked to dump sugar in soup or replace a fruit salad's grapes with olives. And whoever told him, "Hey, don't do that," well, they profoundly misunderstood his intentions. Hard to get this across, but SSRIs or not, It's less sad to die than many learn to interpret. So think. A dog heading into the woods to die is not the same as one licking a bee-stung paw. All right. Thank you very much. Everyone, seriously, thank you for tonight. It was a wonderful evening. Our next month's reading, we have one. Let me look that up. I should have looked that up before I started talking. I did not do that. Next month, we are doing, it'll be on September 13th. Raphael Delalo, he wrote a book. It's called Houseplant Warrior. It's about, he's going to be giving a demonstration on how to keep plants alive, especially during winter. He does succulents and non-succulents. I'm not a plant person. I can't really go through the categories, but he's very informative talk, and it should be a treat. So September 13th is our next read. And again, thank you, and we'll see you all around.